really bad, lift that door. Washroom is through the hall to John McGinnis, as Deanna said. I am a comp coach specialist in dressage, and I'm also a Western comp coach. So I do a little bit of everything, and I do a lot of coaching. Therefore, Deanna nabbed me to do this. So, has everybody lunged a horse before? Has anybody not lunged a horse before? Oh, well, that's wonderful. Does everybody lunge properly? No. You would be surprised the little habits that you pick up that should be kind of poo-pooed away. So we're going to try to take all that out today. I have a pamphlet, one for everybody, I think. I might only have 12, so you guys can't remember. Just take one and pass it away. I'm going to refer to that as we go along. Can't read if I don't have these
Two spectacles on there.
Oh, it's terrible. Can anybody tell me? Oh, wait till we get the packages out. And then I look up and you guys are all blurry.
Okay, I can't see you either.
I know. Very impressive. Yeah. As we go through this afternoon, if there's any questions or comments or contradictions, please don't hesitate to say, hey, what about this or what about that? And I will do my best to clarify it. If I cannot clarify it, I will find someone who can clarify it for you, okay? Do we have enough to get through? I can't believe the group. I figured there'd be 2 people. All right, so let's talk about reasons to lunge. There's a list on that on your first page. But can anybody add to that list as to why you might want to lunge your horse? Or what's your primary reason for lunging a horse? Anyone?
Another reason is to warm up with the other person.
To help warm up with another person, okay?
Extra energy.
Extra energy, yes.
To see them move, because sometimes you can't see them when you run.
Exactly.
Get familiar with the new place.
Absolutely. Yeah, so there is like a million reasons to lunge. Primary reason that I find myself lunging, even my well-schooled horses, is that I'm riding and I'm feeling something, but sometimes when you see it, it's not quite what you think it is. So, good reason. All right. I made an agenda because I forget things easily. All right, so safety. First and foremost, every time you lunge or do anything with a horse, all right? What would be some things to consider here today? People. So that's why we put a little bit of a barrier, because horses are horses, right? Something else? The wind. The doors. You want the doors closed. The footing. You want to be aware of what footing you're lunging a horse on, because if it's slippery, should you really be lunging them? Probably not. And then we're going to think about attire. Now, I'm all decked out like this today. I wouldn't normally be if I was lunging, but what would be a couple of things I'm going to definitely make sure that I have? Gloves. Please, if you do nothing else, gloves and, yeah, something else. Boots. Some sort of safe bullet, closed-toed boots, right? Gloves, why? When they pull. And I'm serious. People think, oh, it won't happen, but a bird flies out and that horse scoots off and that lunge line runs through your fingers, you are going to thank me for insisting you wear gloves, all right? So for your test, you want to appear, helmet, fastened. I will probably forget to fasten it, so you guys feel free to remind me. Breeches and boots. These are boots, right? Breeches and boots. No spurs. Make sure your spurs are not on your boots. Why?
Because you're really going to get tangled up or you're going to trip.
Yes. I know of a girl that lunged her horse, dropped her lunge line, got tangled up in her leg, and she broke her leg. You think it will never happen, but yeah, don't do it. All right, so boots, breeches, helmet, gloves. Men, top two, but you know. For Western, boots, pants, you know, helmet is okay too. But at home on your own, always at least footwear and gloves.
Question.
Yes?
If your jacket is open, should you have it closed?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, that certainly is something
Like
that
if you do like your instructors, can you have your, or does it have to be closed? Because technically it could be in your way.
it could be in your way. Well, here's a comment. I would say, since you noted it, yes, close it or take it off. But if the examiner said to you, what do you think about your jacket? We want you to be really quick on your feet to go, oh, I didn't think about that. You're right. I should have closed it or taken it off. All right? Because we're human and we will make little mistakes. So don't be afraid to take that and go with it. Good, because I would probably keep it open. Any other thoughts about safety right off the top of your head? All right. Get my glasses back on. So we're going to talk a little bit about the equipment. Actually, the handouts you have, everything you have came from the rider manuals. Has everybody seen these? They're handy. The 345 has a little bit in it, but the 678 has quite a bit in it. So, well, I mean, you have it in your hands now, but read the books. Lunge lines. Does anybody have a preference on lunge lines? Have you thought about having a preference on lunge lines? Okay. They usually are long enough for you to make about a 20-meter circle or somewhere between a 15 and a 20-meter circle. If you see something that's shorter than that, leave it there because you really need to be lunging at least a 15-meter circle. Some things that I consider when choosing a lunge line are the size because I have little hands and this is a very common lunge line, but it's thick and it's too much in my hands, especially if I'm wearing gloves, right? This one is smaller. I can get my hand around it, which is really, really good, but it's really, really flimsy, so when I go to lunge, it's harder to keep it organized. So my preference is one that is a heavier canvas. Now, you only kind of get to something that you prefer if you try them, right? So don't hesitate to try them when you're at home. What you're looking for is a lunge line with a swivel on the snap, so it doesn't get twisted quite so much. But they do come in different ways. This one is light and does not have a swivel, so I probably wouldn't buy it, but that's just my preference, all right? This big one has on it this. Have you guys seen these? So the big swivel, which is heavy and clunky and uncomfortable in a lot of ways that you would properly attach the lunge line when you are at an exam. So some of the things you want to be thinking about here is, oh yeah, that might work at home, but it might not be the best choice to take to an exam. They all, and I kind of disagree, they all should have a loop at the end because you should put your fingers in it to catch the end. But I worry because I think people would do this, and then that's a major safety issue. So if you are concerned about your horse getting away from you at the end, what could you do?
Put a knot.
Put a knot in the end of it. Cut the loop off, open it up, put a knot. I can't tie the knot. Big, stiff lunge line. Who would want that? Oops, is it ends? Right, so then when you get to the end, you have someplace to go. You'll also see lunge lines with a chain on them. So probably for most of you, if you have a horse that needs a lunge line with a chain on it, you should probably put the horse back in the barn, okay? And leave that to the people with a little more experience. You will not show up to a lunging exam with a lunge line chain. Why? Oh, come on, guys.
You don't want to do the nose bend with that.
Well, it's uncomfortable. You can't attach it properly. But what was the one thing that I said? If your horse needs this,
It's not the biggest.
it's not a horse for you to take it to an exam, right? They're probably unruly. However, they are handy to have. All right. Lunge whips. Who knew there were so many different options? When you start out lunging, you probably want this little whip. It's not just made for short people like me. It's made for people learning how to handle whips because it's light and easy. But what would be a disadvantage of having this little whip? What? You can't reach the horse. Right. I told you to go out on a 15-meter circle, and this is made for a 10-meter circle. Okay? There is the nice big whip, which is beautiful, but it takes a lot of practice in order to be able to use it efficiently. And then there's the one in the middle, which is probably, I think most of you guys could probably get with this. Now, as you'll see as we get going, practice lunging with the whip. You might not need it, but you still need to know how to use it. All right? Everybody still with me? Nobody sleeping yet? All right. Side reins. Does everybody know what side reins are?